Happy Monday! I'm bringing the pink, people. I'm bringing the pink to the dreary, foggy skies of the northeast. Happy Monday.
It's a new day, it's a new week. It seems to be brightening up a little bit. I just went for a walk in the rain this morning. I thought, I'm going for my little walk. I'll just walk in the drizzle rain. I'll just get wet.
Get wet. Well, welcome to Donna and Cheryl TV. Thank you so much for tuning in today, Monday the 15th of June. And today, keeping it real, we're going to be talking to you about our life lessons, life strategies, all about identity, all about the masks that we are wearing. And that's what we're going to be spending time talking to you about every day this week. Different angles, different tactics, and different stories from us. And hopefully you will be joining in too.
Yes. If you're here, give us a holla.
Holla. Mel says she's loving
interactive.
I mean, I'm not really glowing in the dark. It's actual luminous. If you listen to this on audio, I'm sorry, but I'm really bright pink today.
Yes. So we love interaction. So if you're here, interact with us. Otherwise, we'll just blether on at you for the next 15, 20 minutes. So yes, so the whole theme this week is around identity, and it's about you really finding who the real you is. And we're starting off today with wearing masks because it's something Donna and I resonate with. We did that for many years. And I think we can say now, yes, we may adapt how we communicate and how we are in different life circumstances, but we don't feel the need to wear a mask and pretend to be someone or something or please someone or like be out of our comfort zone and try to fit in like we used to do. We spent our 20s and some of our 30s doing this, but now we don't live life like that anymore. So it's particularly when we both worked in corporate was a time for us where, you know, we're both mums, we're working corporate, we had kids, we're husbands, we're daughters, we're the pinnacles of the family, we are the doers in our families, we've got our friendships, we're leaders at work, we're in big senior teams at work, like we're like, oh, mom, daughter, sister, work, leader, what's my name today? Who am I?
And I was reading something at the weekend, Cheryl, that really struck a chord, and it was saying so many people go through life like chameleons, and somewhere along the line, the camouflage actually becomes who you are. And that's so true, isn't it? You actually forget who you were under all the fancy dress.
Yeah.
And that's certainly how I felt. And I didn't mean to. Like, I never set out thinking, I'm going to spend so much time trying to fit in, trying to go with the flow, trying to be whatever I need to be, to keep my imposter syndrome happy, because that was such a big issue for me. Because of my imposter syndrome, I already felt like a fraud. So fitting in was like, that was just how I was always trying to fit in right through my teens, 20s, into my 30s when I realized what imposter syndrome was. But it was such a big thing, just this kind of blending into going with whatever the color was in the room, that's the color I would try and be, when actually really our whole life should be trying to work out what color we are, who we are. Brené Brown calls it the armor, doesn't she? She's like, you're wearing all this armor. And it's so true.
Absolutely. And thanks, Tina, for sharing. You've just taken your perfect parent mask off after having a long call with a head teacher. Because we're all perfect parents, aren't we? Not. But literally, and that's an interesting take, isn't it? Having imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud. How can you truly know your identity? How can you know who the real you is when you feel like a fraud inside? It's like an impossible task, isn't it, really? And I know my journey was a bit different to yours, Donna, wasn't it? Because you grew up with imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud. I grew up with the label of feeling different, which I put on myself because being adopted, living in a white community, I looked different to everyone else. I didn't understand why I looked different to everybody else. And there was a pretense that I was the same, even though clearly when you looked at it, I wasn't. So I really didn't understand who I was. So I spent my school years, particularly more in senior school, not in lower school. Clearly when I hit teenage, something happened, trying to fit in with the trend. I was always with the cool people, always hanging out with the trendy, with the cool gang. But that was so that nobody would question that I was different or I looked different. So nobody dared to mention the big elephant in the room. I really didn't, even in my 20s, did not know who I was. I just felt different, and I've spent my life trying to fit in with other people. It was really when I got into my 30s, like you, I really started to connect with who I was at the core, and I was behaving, and I probably the same as you, so much different to who I am now today. The real me, compared to how I behaved at times, was just like night and day.
100%. And for me, it came across as whereas you were trying to fit in that respect. And for me, I think it was more almost like trying to please everybody all the time. And I wrote about this morning because I was sitting thinking about, what we were talking about today in the post that I shared this morning. And for me, it was really that thing of best not let anyone see who I am, shiny on the outside, broken on the inside, because I don't even like me. I was carrying so much shame around for some of the decisions that I'd made, for the relationships that I've been in, for feeling like I just was, a shitty person, lying to all these people that I had talent that I didn't, and they kept paying us for, like constantly scared. So pleasing people so that they didn't look too closely, wearing the masks and the armor so that they didn't get to see what was really under there, because I genuinely thought if anybody gets to know me, they won't like me. So I'll just keep pleasing and keep pretending I'm what they want me to be, the chameleon, keeping everyone happy so they don't look too hard. And then everyone's like at a safe distance. That's how I thought.
Absolutely. And we hear it, don't we, with women that we work with? They're frightened to find, like our Real You program helps people to find who they are and live life as their authentic self. And some of our women tell us they're frightened to find out who they are because they don't know, because they've lost themselves along the way, being a man, being in a certain role, having things happen to you where you don't feel worthy, you don't feel good enough. They're frightened to find out who they are for exactly that reason, in case they don't like themselves.
Yeah. And people have even said, I'm scared to look in case there's nothing really there. And isn't that a thing that we go through our lives? We bear these children, we have these great jobs, we look after our homes, we look after our families, we create, communities around us, and we're scared. We've brainwashed ourselves into thinking that there might be nothing there worth having.
Yeah, it's just an illusion.
And it's this big hang-up that we have, and we're putting all this pressure on ourselves. Like, we don't want you to look and find that, you're really like Amelia Earhart, or you want to split the atom. Like, you is enough. But we just want you to be able to look at the mirror and say, I like what I see, and me is enough. But I guess it's a how do we do that? From where you are now, if you're one of those women or men, because it happens to the guys too, we've had male clients approach us saying, please just try and help me find out who the F I am, because I don't know anymore. But if you find that you've been in a job, you've, maybe had kids, you've been in relationships, you've made bad decisions, that's life. We all have. You made decisions that you'd probably not make again, but you did. And it was the best. You did the best as what you knew at the time. How do you start to come to get to know you again, to start liking you again?
And just pick up on something Mel was just saying. She's sometimes held herself back from being herself in case she makes a fool of herself and people laugh at you. It's the judgment, isn't it? Fear of being judged, which I think would definitely make that. Thanks, Mel. We'll make that a topic for this week. It's like the fear of being judged for being who you are, which is the same as what Donna's saying, in case people don't like you. So,
it's a big
but yeah, I mean, we really have spent years on this, haven't we? But you have to start to connect with yourself. We're being in corporate, we've been there, you're on this, what people describe to us as a hamster wheel, and you're just going round and round and round and round, and you very rarely stop the hamster wheel and step off. And actually, the real you is off the wheel. So really, it's about creating some space, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, to literally step off your hamster wheel, the thoughts and things that you believe to be true, and just be you. Even if it's just sat outside when the sun's shining, it's nothing better than to sit outside in my little garden chairs with a cup of coffee, just being me, with a smile on my face, because I know that I feel that's me.
Good. But I think if you're scared of that, if you're scared of who am I, and it's actually one of the modules in our 6-month group program, Who Am I, because it's such a big part of your development journey from wherever you are now to wherever you want to get to be, to just tune in. So just sit and be with yourself. No phone, no listening to anything, no podcast, no Audible book. Just sit and tune in to your own thoughts. That's it. That in itself, such a simple step, available to anyone, it costs nothing. And just to reassure you, everybody's worried that they're going to not like who they find. Like I thought I knew who I was, and I didn't like the person, so I wasn't scared about finding myself. I thought I knew myself. I mean, I didn't have a bloody clue. But nobody in the history of Now Is Your Time has ever done this work, by the way, and not like what they found, ever. They didn't like the person they became and the person who they were in that moment. And once you do this work, the becoming of you as the real you is just such a lovely journey, and it's such a great destination, or an ongoing destination to be at, because where you are now is way more painful. Not knowing yourself, way more painful. Hey, Kaya.
And we always find as well, like, in some of the stuff like we've done about ourselves, is like when you were kids, when you were grown up, like before we had all of these labels and conditioning and limiting beliefs and all this stuff put on us from our families, from society, that we're put on ourselves. Like there's still that child is still in you, the great side of the child. Like, and I'm going to use Donna as an example, because Donna said for a lot of years when she worked in corporate, I'm not creative. But as a child, Donna was like 3-4-year-old reading books, like loads and loads of books. She then learned to speak 3 languages. She went and lived in different countries and she's multilingual, and she just loves writing and loved books. So this is what when you grew up, you were writing, you were journaling, you were reading books as a child. Creative, I would label that as creative. And then somewhere along the line in corporate had formed this belief about yourself that you're not creative. But actually now we're doing what we love. We're getting up every day, fulfilling our purpose. And Donna writes our content. Like everything you see is written by Donna. Like somebody who isn't creative can't write. But you'd formed along the road. You'd lost who you were.
100%. And after we started talking about this, I remembered, like, when other children were probably like watching TV, I would sit and draw for hours. I would sit with Disney books and draw and color. And Dad's like an amazing artist as well. And I forgot all about that. And then I would get like top marks in art and stuff. But I'd literally, like as Cheryl says, your brain tries to prove itself right. Until we have this conversation, I'd completely put that in a box over there with the I'm not creative label on it.
Yeah. And even though when we set the business up, she was writing all of the social content, and you still was saying I'm not creating. It was like, hello, now you've changed your own belief. But like, it's just important to think back when you were children. Like my daughter used to sit and she used to do like these cartoon sketches. She would like trace over them, like all like the cartoon, the Disney characters and things. And now like Holly's doing something where she knows she is creative, but you lose that along the way. So it's really important. Just think about like when you were a child, like what was it that you really enjoyed doing that was just easy? Because these things, they're just easy, aren't they? And we just love doing them. Yeah. Thanks, Kate. Our kiddie selves.
We are our kiddie selves. And this is the thing, we adult ourselves out of just the fun stuff. And I would remember, like, I always used to say, oh, like, I'm just really boring and serious. Like, I don't know how to have fun. I don't know how to play. I would say that. And then when I thought about it, I thought, well, no, like, that's not true. When I'm with Cheryl and the girls, I let rip and I'm just me. And, you know, from meeting Neil, he would bring that side out of us as well, where I would just be daft and just have fun. And I'd been serious for a long time because I was really unhappy and I didn't feel like I could have fun, because actually if I had fun, I might get a punch in the face because he didn't like to see me happy in my first marriage. So there was a reason that I'd formed the belief that that's who I was, because I'd gone with the chameleon again into that persona.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's a journey reconnecting to yourself, but finding the child in you, just the things you like doing, and really thinking about, when do you just let loose? Like, when are you just yourself? When are you not trying? When are you not trying? Think about where you are trying.
Yeah.
Like, work is usually the first thing people say, or around friends they're not comfortable with. But think about when you're just you.
Yeah.
Like, what you just like to do.
Like when you, at those times, and we're going to talk more about that this week, about your intuition, but it's like, where do you feel like you've got, people use the word mojo, we call it flow, and then being in alignment. But when you're just in your flow, when you just feel like you've got your mojo, when you just have this knowing that everything's as it should be. And we all have those moments. We all do. It's about finding those and making more of them. But just when you just know, like, you've got it going on, like inside, it just feels good.
Yeah, I love it. And that's really like where to start. So just creating some space and time for yourself to just be, just with your own thoughts, without the distractions, without the list of to-dos. Remembering some of the stuff that you just love doing, that you just have, just for fun, no reason, stuff that you did when you were little, reconnect to your inner child, and just recognizing where you're just in flow, where you've just got your mojo, where life feels easy, like who are you around, what's different then? And just by those three things, just getting started to really, we call it like tuning into yourself.
Yeah.
And we're going to add loads of layers on you this week about this, but it's such a biggie. And even if you think you was added, I'd love you to do this week with us as well, because I had some of my biggest aha moments when I just sat, just me, no TV, no phones, no nothing, and just journaled about how I was thinking, how I was feeling, or just sat and just relaxed into my thoughts. It is crazy the stuff that comes up.
Yeah.
Mel's just saying I've applied
Mel.
lots of I'm not labels to myself. Yeah, this is really true. And I remember one of our great friends, Lorna Dunnan, who's a trained Bob Proctor consultant, did a session with our Real You girls as a guest speaker. And I remember one of the questions she says Bob asks, which is really powerful, is it's not who you are that's the issue, it's who you think you're not.
Yeah.
And it's so true, isn't it? Like once you label yourself, I'm not that person, it's in a box, it's closed, it's off the table, we're not even talking about it anymore. So it's not who you think you are that's the issue, it's who you think you're not.
Absolutely. So we have lots more coming this week around helping you to tune in to the real you, tune into your identity. So would love for you to join us.
Yeah, come on this
for the rest of the week with us for our next week's journey. But we've also got some, we'll share with you the link, but we have some amazing blogs that we have written. As I say, when I say we, I mean Donna, the creative one.
No. She does it, right? She sits and I go, I'm thinking about this or this, and it comes up with loads of ideas. I'm just the one that puts it in writing.
And we've got some guest blogs in there, but we'll share the link with you after this. But there's a blog on wearing masks, which will be great for you to go and sit when you're sitting outside on your own with your cup of coffee, tuning in, read one of our blogs. But we've got loads more blogs on there. There's loads and loads and loads of stuff. So we'd love you to go and check them out. We'll share the link in the comments with you.
Amazing. And one of the first, I think it was the first blog we ever put on there, if you go right back to the beginning, was the shiny on the outside, broken on the inside. It was the first blog I ever wrote for Now Is Your Time. So I'd love to get your views on that as well when you read it.
Amazing.
Love it. Mel's just saying, I might also try I Can Be. E.g., I can be analytical when I set my mind to it. You can. The thing is, you can do anything that you actually set your mind to, which is whether or not you want to do it. It's a different thing, right? So, but
amazing
identity. So, have a brilliant day. Fabulous Monday.
Have a lovely rest of the week.
See you tomorrow, kids. Bye.
Bye.